Let's focus a little bit specifically on fear. Uh, and let me share an experience with you. I've shared this with Sam before. It's in the book that I wrote. But I love mountains. And my favorite mountain in the whole world is Pikes Peak in Colorado. I don't know. Have you been there, Kay? I don't think, Sam, you've been there either, have you?
No, I haven't been. I think I just went through Colorado. I want to go there.
Pikes Peak is not the tallest mountain in the country. Denali is. It's not even the tallest mountain in Colorado. I think Mount Evans is, but it's 14,100 feet. And the interesting thing about it is you can drive to the top. Once you get the gate to the park, which is, or the national monument or whatever you want to call it, that is Pikes Peak, it's a 19-mile drive to the top of that mountain. And you're starting at about 4,000 foot level. So you're going to go a gentle slope first, and most generally a whole bunch of what they call switchbacks back and forth. But I had wanted to climb that mountain since I first saw it back in 1966. So in 98, my son, who was 19, I guess at the time, 18, somewhere in there, he and I decided to drive up Pikes Peak. It was a cold, misty day, and I think we were lucky to be able to go up. He was driving, and I was happy he was driving. And until you hit the tree line, which is at around 10,000 feet, the thing in mountains is at 10,000 feet, the trees stop growing for some reason. I guess it gets too cold for the trees. So we're above 10,000 feet, and it's misty. And the unique thing about Pikes Peak is it towers above everything around it, which no other mountain does that like Pikes Peak does. It just towers around everything that's around it. So we're driving up there, and it's very misty, and pretty soon the rest of the land disappears, and we can't see it anymore. All we can see is with gravel at the time, the gravel road leading up to the next switchback. But you can't see anything to the right except the edge of the road. And I began to think that what's keeping me from falling off the edge of the road? And then I looked straight ahead, and I saw what looked like the road just ended. It just dropped off because I couldn't see the turn in the road. I couldn't see the switchback. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I'm getting a little bit what's called acrophobic here. And I found myself inching more towards the center of the car and afraid to look out to the right. And I'm thinking, I am really glad Jeff is driving. At that very moment, he slammed on the brakes, slapped the wheel with his hand, and said, Dad, I can't do this anymore. And here we were, 3,000 feet more to go, and neither one of us wanted to drive, and he absolutely couldn't. There was no way I was backing down that mountain. And there was no way I was going to pull a U-turn because I was just absolutely certain I would back off the edge. The point there is we made it to the top. It was one of the toughest 3,000 feet I've ever driven. But we get to the top and the view is worth it, you see. But the point is that fear was palpable and it was imaginary fear. And the important point is that real or imagined fear feels pretty much the same thing. I didn't have any reason to be afraid. We weren't going to drive off that mountain. But I couldn't convince myself intellectually of that, not emotionally. I guess intellectually I could understand it, but emotionally I couldn't. So there's a great similarity between real fear and how it feels and imaginary fear. And I wonder how much of what we are afraid of is really imaginary fear. I wonder.
That's major, and that's that's something that's very, very pivotal. It's all in here,
right?
And when you can tell your mind and tell your body, tell your spirit exactly, this is what we're going to confess, this is what we're going to believe, this is what I only see. I'm not going to tap into the spirit, and I'm going to see what God sees. So once you move past that image that you see physically, God, what are you seeing? What are you saying? I can't imagine getting that far up a mountain. Driving. It's so funny you said that the mountain coming through. So we were coming and driving here. We did the full 20-hour drive straight from Illinois to Florida.
You must have come
Yeah.
over Mont Eagle Pass in Tennessee.
And that's where I'm headed. And I remember driving saying, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And for a quick moment, my emotions began to rise and I began to get very angst and extremely nervous. And I remember, you're headed to your God assignment. What's your purpose? What's your focus? And when I'm going this, when you remember your focus point, you remember your focus. My focus point is to get to the top of this mountain, that I will face challenges. I will have encounters, but what is my purpose? What's my focus? And I think once you reset your sight line on the purpose, it's impossible for fear to take you under. It's impossible for the anxiety levels because you realize I can't turn around because we drove this far to see this beautiful landscape. There is purpose here. The bonding time with you and your son, purpose, building that bond, that relationship. Now he has an experience that when I couldn't go no further, my earthly father could take me further because his heavenly father gave him sight and vision for us to get to this mountaintop.
Yeah.
I think that's an awesome story, me personally. That's just,
Well, good.
I think
We
it's
were
awesome.
both afraid, I can tell you that. But I was the dad, and so I had to go. I had to go through with it.
Oh
But
yeah.
we both remember the story very well. I have to tell you, I want you to meet my son sometime. My son is 6'5" and just short of his black belt in Taekwondo.
Super.
And I feel very safe when I'm with my son. But the funny thing is, I make him nervous because I feel so safe. I do things that he wishes I wouldn't do. In Chicago, for example,
Oh, wow.
pulling out my money and giving it to a street beggar. And, that just makes him extremely nervous. But
Charles calls them entrepreneurs.
that's that what it is. But that's a good, and I got a couple quotes here that I'll share. Fear does not stop death, it stops life. And here's another one. Worrying does not take away tomorrow's trouble, it takes away today's peace.
Okay, hold on. You can't just drop that nugget and just run right past that.
Well, all right, then talk about it.
Fear. I mean, it was just that to me, it's a really powerful quote. And I think, son, I want you to hear this quote that Dale just said. He said,
Joshua there?
fear. Yeah, Joshua's right here.
Joshua's
He
there?
said, fear does not stop death. It stops life. That is like super powerful, man. We're going to talk about that today. I like that. That's going to be a life word for this week. I like that.
Josh,
All right.
Josh, I don't think you're going to bed anytime soon.
Oh. This is our youngest. It's
Yeah.
like he doesn't like to be called the baby.
Boy,
He's called the youngest
Okay.
of the Durham clan.
The least old.
Yeah, I love that. Fear does not stop death, but it stops life.
Right.
That's a very powerful quote. I hope you coined that.
I
hope you coined it.
I did not. I ran across it on Facebook and I
Okay.
Googled it and discovered that whoever posted it had posted the second part and blended them. Worrying doesn't take away tomorrow's troubles. It takes away today's peace. But that was the one you like was someone by the name of V.I. Keeland actually said that. And then here's another one that's a different perspective. Without fear, there cannot be courage.
Yes.
Without fear, there cannot be courage.